I've seen a very interesting trend on the Wings of Fire community as of late, and that is the trend of the what if. Now, I personally like this trend because it entails a lot of thinking, and I like the puzzle solving aspect to story writing. However, I've never actually taken a shot at this, so today I'm going to present to you probably the biggest what if you guys have ever heard on the Wings of Fire community. Now, that's a very bold statement. However, I'm not altering the perspective of a character, nor am I altering a plot line. And you guys are probably wondering at this point, well then what are you altering in this what if? Well, my prompt was this. What if animus magic did not originate with dragons? There's a very simple answer to this question. However, I created this unnecessarily complex story to answer the very simple question. So, instead of altering a plot line or a character perspective, I'm going to be altering the entire world structure of Wings of Fire. And to do that, I'm going to go to a place where most authors will never touch, and that is the beginning of their world. So, because of this idea that I'm going to be explaining away the beginnings of the world, I will be implementing my personal Christian beliefs and my faith values. And I hope you enjoy the ride. I know that a lot of you have said you guys are Christian artists, and I think that's awesome. Hopefully things that you hear in my story you guys have heard before, or maybe you guys can resonate with in a different way, right? One last thing before we get started. I know it's kind of long, but because of the nature of my what if, I will not be able to present it to you in a very traditional manner. There's just far too much information that I need to share with you. So I guess instead we're going to be going through a timeline, kind of like a history class. So I'm pretty much going to be your history teacher for a little bit, but I promise you I'll try not to be boring, okay? Anyways, without any further ado, let's get started. The first event that we have is the creation of the world. That's pretty basic, obviously. However, there's a couple of facts that you should know about this event. One, that the creator spoke the world into existence. This is really, really important, and I would suggest that you keep this in the back of your mind as we continue to go down the timeline. And two, during the creation of this world, there was a garden that was planted. There are absolutely no living creatures that exist in this garden. It's supernaturally sustained. So I guess you could say it's a magical garden, and the only way to access this garden is if you have animus magic. Now let's take a small pause because I know what you're thinking. Animus magic doesn't work that way, and what does this have anything to do with your story? Well, remember, we're in a timeline where Tui has not explained anything about her world, which means that animus magic can literally be anything so long as it flows back into the series perfectly. And yes, it does have a lot to do with my story because of the next events. Jumping back into the lesson, we have our next main event, which is the creation of the masterpiece. I said that the world was spoken into existence, and it was. Really, it didn't take much to speak the world into existence, although that is an incredible power. So for his masterpiece, he wasn't going to merely speak it into existence. Rather, he came down to what he had already made, and he sculpted his masterpiece. Sculpting takes a lot of time and dedication, and really an amount of love and care for whatever you're sculpting. And his masterpiece was human life. Because mankind was the creator's prized possession, he gave him something really special, and that was animus magic. We're going to take another small pause because I said that animus magic works differently. There are two key components to animus magic at this point. One is the key to the garden, which I said was only accessible through animus magic, so it's a garden only meant for man. And two is a physical representation of your spiritual status. I'm going to pretty much leave it there because everything will be answered later. But just know that because the world has not fallen yet, man is alive physically and spiritually. Jumping back into the lesson, we have an event that we need to go through that is not really a major event, but is an incredibly important event. There was a rule that was given to man, and he was just supposed to follow one rule. What this rule was not the important part. The important part is that the rule was given as a choice of free will. You were either going to obey the creator and follow the rule, or disobey the creator, break the rule, and reap the consequences, which in this case was death. Alright, with that out of the way, let's move into our next major event, which is the creation of Dragon. This garden, like I said, was a garden only meant for man, because it was a place of devotion. Every day, mankind would come into the garden and spend a set apart time for them to be with their creator. Because really, it was a relationship between the masterpiece and the master. One day, man asked about the story of how he was made, and the creator tells him that he sculpted him. I think of it as like a child who has an older sibling, and everything that the older sibling does, the little child wants to mimic, because they want to be just like their older sibling. Not in a sense of pride, but rather in a sense of admiration. So the same thing happens, where a man hears a story of how he was sculpted and he's inspired. So he sits down with this ball of clay and he starts to sculpt out a creature, and he calls it the dragon. He shows the creator what he made. So the creator, seeing the admiration that man had for him, ends up creating this beast. So this giant lumbering beast comes out of the forest one day, and man is surprised to see that the creature that he sculpted is real. And the creature didn't just give man the one dragon that he sculpted, but rather he gave him 7 other. And this is the establishment of the 8 tribes. Another pause, because I know you guys are probably saying, hey, there's 11. Yes, well, 2 did not exist, and the last one we will get to later. But for now, there are 8, and each of them had a corresponding element according to where they live. And I will address those powers in a later video. But for now, just know that there are 8 tribes, and each of them have a specific power according to where they live. Now, the purpose for these dragons was to be companions and servants to man. And this is important because it develops a hierarchy. It is the creator, man, and then dragon. Man is given a warning. Because you and dragon were made in a similar fashion, dragon is going to be the mirror of your best and your worst. Now, remember, I said the world is not fallen yet. So the only thing that dragon can mimic from man is the best of man, right? Obviously, because it's not fallen. But that's all about to change in our next event. However, we are running out of time, so this is where our lesson is going to end, and I will pick up where we left off in our next video. Let me know what you guys think about it. I know it's a little bit different because the what if entails a lot. There's a lot of information that I threw at you, and if you guys have any questions or any comments, please let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys could do me a favor, the only thing I ask is share this video with a friend or family that you think would enjoy these crazy ideas. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys enjoyed the speed paint as well. I am not going to be divulging any of the story with this piece. So yeah, take care and have a lovely day. Bye!